I remember the first time I heard the rumors. They were hushed whispers in the hallways of the hospital, passed from one person to another like a virus. Dr. Nathaniel Brooks, the man everyone considered a saint, the brilliant surgeon who saved lives like it was second nature, was suddenly the subject of suspicion. I didn't believe them at first. No one ever suspected him. Not in all the years I'd worked with him, but when I saw the files, everything changed. It was late one night when I found myself at the hospital, staying late to catch up on some work. I didn't expect anything unusual, just the usual paperwork and patient updates. But then I stumbled upon a series of records left carelessly in an unlocked cabinet, patients' medical charts, but something was off. I could tell they were forgeries, falsified, but that wasn't what bothered. It was what I found in the margins. Notes about special procedures, off the books, and cryptic references to organ transplants that weren't recorded in the official hospital systems. There were a few names I recognized, all former patients of Dr. Brooks. I sat down in the empty break room, piecing it together in my head. Dr. Brooks had a perfect record, but what if that wasn't the full truth? What if his successes weren't as innocent as they seemed? I tried to brush it off. It had to be a mistake. I had to be imagining things, but something about it didn't sit right. The next day, I did something I'd never thought I'd do. I spoke to Olivia, Dr. Brooks' daughter. She'd always been quiet, reserved. She was a nurse, like her father, and loved the work they both did, but I could tell something weighed on her. Olivia's parents, especially her father, were practically saints in our town. Everyone trusted them, but I wasn't so sure anymore. I didn't know if I should bring up what I'd seen, but the unease gnawed at me until I had to. "Olivia," I said, keeping my voice low, "I need to ask you something. I think it's important." She glanced at me, a hesitant frown crossing her face. "What's going on?" "I've been going through some old patient files. Dr. Brooks' files," I began, carefully watching her reaction. "There's something strange, something I don't understand. There are notes on procedures that weren't logged, about surgeries that weren't officially recorded." Her face paled, but she didn't say anything. That was when I realized I wasn't the only one who had suspicions. "Olivia, I need to know if your dad's been involved in anything illegal, anything at all. I'm not accusing him, but there's something wrong here." She froze, her fingers tightening around the coffee cup in her hands. After what felt like an eternity, she let out a long breath, as if she was steeling herself for something monumental. "You're not imagining things," she said, her voice shaking. "I've been trying to figure out how to tell you." I leaned forward, my heart pounding. "What do you mean?" "I don't know all the details, but I've heard enough, seen enough to know something isn't right. My father has been part of an underground network. He's been taking organs from patients who didn't need them. Organ trafficking, I guess you could call it." The world seemed to stop. "What? How could he?" "Don't you think I know?" she whispered. "I've been fighting this for months, trying to ignore it, but it's true. He's been getting rich off of this, and he's been hiding it for years." I sat there, stunned. It was like someone had ripped the world from under me, leaving nothing but confusion and disbelief. The man I had worked with for years, the man everyone praised, was part of something so much darker than I ever could have imagined. But the worst part, Olivia didn't even seem surprised. She looked broken, like she had already known for far too long. "I thought about confronting him," she said quietly, staring down at the coffee cup, "but I didn't know what would happen. He's my dad, and he's so good at covering his tracks." "Then why are you telling me?" I asked, my voice shaky, trying to make sense of it all. "Because I'm scared," she said, her eyes wide with fear. "You have to understand, I can't live with this anymore. I need someone to know the truth. I need someone to stop him." That's when I knew I couldn't turn back. I had to make a decision. A part of me wanted to believe it wasn't true, that Olivia was wrong or confused. But another part of me knew that this wasn't just a mistake. This was real. The days that followed were a blur. I didn't know what to do with the knowledge I had. I wanted to confront Dr. Brooks, but I also didn't want to lose everything. A part of me didn't want to believe that the man I respected, the one I had worked with every day, was capable of something so monstrous. But Olivia's words echoed in my mind. I need someone to stop him. The moment I walked into the operating room that day, I knew things would change forever. I could see it in Olivia's eyes. She was terrified. It wasn't just the patients anymore. It was her father. And that's when it happened. I'd gone to confront him. Nathaniel was standing in front of the scrub station, preparing for his next surgery. The operating room was sterile and silent. The hum of machines, the only noise. I walked up to him, my heart hammering in my chest. "Dr. Brooks," I said, my voice trembling. "I know what you've been doing." He didn't look up. "What are you talking about?" he asked, almost absent-mindedly. "I know about the surgeries, the organ transplants, the ones you didn't log." I stepped closer, every muscle in my body frozen, as if the reality of what I was saying was only just beginning to settle in. He turned slowly, his eyes narrowing. "You don't know anything." "No, I do," I said, my voice rising. "And I'm not going to stay silent anymore. This ends today." Nathaniel's face hardened. The calm, controlled persona he had so carefully built was gone. In its place, there was something darker. He didn't say a word, but took a step forward, his hand reaching for the scalpel at his side. I knew then that nothing would ever be the same. What happened next? I can't explain it fully. The chaos, the screams, the violence, it all blurred together in a terrible crescendo. But I can tell you this, I won't forget the look on Olivia's face when she entered the room. She saw it all, the fight, the blood, and her father's final hollow expression. He was arrested, but the truth of what happened in that hospital, what happened to so many families, including his own, would never truly be understood. As for Olivia, she left town after the trial. I haven't seen her since. I know she couldn't live with the truth anymore, not with what her father had done. The whole town was left in disbelief, caught between the memory of the man we thought we knew and the man he truly was. We were all just left wondering, if we had known sooner, could we have stopped it? But the truth was, it was too late for that. I don't know what happens to people when they live with a secret this dark for so long, but I do know one thing. The damage it causes, the betrayal, it can destroy everything.